Hello, I'm Tanner Euchers, and I'll be today's moderator for our COVID-19 Zoom call. The purpose of the video is to share with staff what they do inside and outside of work has a direct impact on their coworkers, their friends, and family, as well as themselves and their consumers. So, as we all know, COVID-19 has had a huge, direct, significant impact on both our professional and personal lives. It's created a ton of change, and which has greatly affected just the way we operate on a daily basis. I think we brought everybody here together so we can share with the Lakeshore community everybody's individual experience, and to educate the Lakeshore staff and professional community on your experiences and maybe things that you think could have been done differently, approaches you're taking to help somebody else out to be better prepared, and to ultimately have them be safe for themselves personally, and then also professionally to better and take care of the consumers that we're working with and for. So first off, I'd like to start off by having Quinn Morganfield start. Quinn, if you could just tell us your current position here at Lakeshore.
I'm a DSP3 house manager at West 33rd Street.
And how long have you been at Lakeshore, Quinn?
This year makes, this January of next year would make 14 years.
So Quinn, I was informed you had a consumer who was in the hospital at Lakeshore. Just keep everybody keeping HIPAA in mind here and confidentiality in mind. Share with us just kind of that experience and just how that kind of processed and played out.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's definitely a scary experience, but I mean, if you have to keep an eye on them, and let's just say, you got to make sure you keep an eye on them. Check temps, check oxygen levels thoroughly, and I mean that experience. When you've been around somebody so long, it kind of makes you, I don't know, you get kind of emotionally attached.
So in terms of the process, so the consumer, I take it, was, identified to have COVID for a little while they were still in the home, and then
Right.
physically they just got worse.
Yeah. They got worse. Over time, he started, he wasn't as mobile as he used to be. He wasn't verbal as he used to be. Started sleeping a lot. And we just, monitored his vital signs every hour to make sure that, he wasn't slipping away from us. And, eventually we ended up having to send him out to the hospital due to the fact that he was getting, his oxygen levels were getting lower and he just wasn't really doing too much of anything. So
how was that? How did that occur in relation to when the whole COVID started? Was it recent, or was it more earlier on, closer to when the shutdown of everything occurred and all the changes initially started?
It was more recent.
Okay.
Than when it first started. Actually, he's still in the hospital now, but it definitely was more. It has to be more recent because he's in the hospital now. But yeah, I mean, there's some things that we could have done probably a little bit different. I mean, we're pretty good about making sure he keeps his hands cleaned and washed up and stuff like that. Everything around him is clean, but he's everywhere. His hands are everywhere. He's touching everything, and it's really hard to protect him from everything, the consumer from everything.
Yeah, absolutely. So you feel overall you really did the job as best you could in the household to keep him protected, but it was just
right.
So did it feel pretty surprising that that consumer got infected?
It really did. It really did feel surprising because we did all the cleaning we could do, the disinfecting and mask and everything we could do possibly, and it's like it just came knocking on the door,
Yeah.
So
sure.
Yeah,
How did I can tell it still feels, it hits you. It seems like I can tell it's hitting you at home and
yeah,
on an emotional level for sure, which is very
yeah.
understandable. How, what are some of the things you've done to like just try to kind of educate other staff and things like that, and to make yourself, kind of feel better and process through this situation the best you can.
Yeah. You gotta lead by example. Just keep things clean. A lot of hand washing, wearing your mask a lot of the time, all the time actually. Only reason I'm not wearing it now is because I'm on camera on a Zoom call, but otherwise I have it on. Uh, Basically, that's just lead by example, show them the way.
Absolutely. Completely agree with that. So, well, Quinn,
Yeah,
thank you very much for sharing that. I really appreciate that. And, we'll, obviously all of us kind of keep our thoughts and prayers with the consumer that's struggling and battling through that right now.
yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, well, thank you. So I'm going to move on next to Scott Horsmanko. Scott, tell the Zoom call here your current position at Lakeshore and how long you've been here.
Oh, well, thanks for having me. I am a DSP2. I work in the retirement program at 906 East Greenview. I've been here 33 years.
Wow, it's quite a long time. Good for you. It's great. Lakeshore is a great place to work for sure. We got a lot of people been here for a very long time. So Scott, tell us, just kind of your process, kind of with the start of your day, prior to going into work, while you're at work, and then while you're leaving work, to ensure, you're being safe for yourself and then family, and then also for the consumers that you're working with.
Sure, sure. So, we come into work. First thing we got to do is you got to wash your hands. That's paramount.
Mhm.
You got to wash your hands. You got to have your mask on before you come into the house. Then you're going to get report from the other staff there, see how the guys have been doing. Because the four gentlemen that we have, they're elderly. I would say that they would be physically compromised, especially respiratory. We cannot allow the COVID-19 to come into this house. You have to disinfect, you have to wash your hands, you have to take your temperature while you're at work, but it's cleaning, it's everything that we've learned here is what you have to do. Now, when you leave, what I do as soon as I leave the house, I go into my car, even though I've washed my hands, I still use hand sanitizer in my car. I go home, I shower, because I don't want to bring this into my own household. My wife is a hairdresser. She sees people on a daily basis. So, I would think that if anybody's going to get it, she would get it. But believe it or not, they've not had one case at her salon, because they have a protocol just like we do of the masks, they wear face shields, they wear the gloves, they take their temperatures, they make people wait outside before they can come in, just, try to keep it a minimum. In the house here, what we've done is recently we have literally shut it down. The only staff that's allowed in the house are the people that currently are working in the home. We don't even want to take the risk of having a substitute staff come in here right now. So, it's been hard. We're working a lot of hours, but we feel that, it's worth it to keep our gentlemen healthy.
Mhm. Absolutely, for sure. So what's some of the things you can identify that staff at Lakeshore can do, like outside of the home in their personal lives, like you're referring to with your wife, and her salon, or the salon she works for, is following very strict protocols like we are at Lakeshore to ensure the safety of everyone. So what are some of the things you can share with the Lakeshore community that can benefit themselves and others as well, besides the things you've already stated?
Well, what we do is, and it's been hard. It absolutely is hard because COVID is real. And, just recently there was a birthday party in October. It was our niece. But unfortunately, and people understand, you just have to explain to them, I can't attend this year. I just can't do it. I can't be around a group of people, even though I know you guys, but you're going to bring guests. I don't know, any of these people that you're bringing in. I just can't risk it.
Mhm.
So, you know, even when we go shopping or whatever we do, you know, we try to go on the off hour times. We try to do everything in one trip. You know, you get your gas in one trip, you do your grocery shopping in one trip, you pay your bills, errands. You know, we try to do a lot of online shopping, curbside pickup, you know, try to pay your bills online, anything like that to minimize contact with anybody that you're not familiar with, that's, you know, basically living in your home. My son is 16, he goes to McDowell, you know, that's another concern because, you know, twice a week he's at school.
It definitely is a struggle. And then Scott, I think those are really good, is really good advice on some basic things we do in our daily lives, of times to go shopping, paying bills online, just kind of those little things that we can do that can make a really huge impact on, you know, preventing or decreasing our rates of exposure. Same thing. I have two sons at home, and they're 8 and 9, and they've been bouncing off the wall. Summer's a little easier; they can get outside. Now it's cold outside. You know, winter's coming, so it's tough to keep them, you know, entertained and keep them from driving mom and dad crazy. And they're, you know, been bugging, hey, can we have friends over this and that? But it's taking that precaution to avoid that potential exposure inside the home, and then exposing the people and consumers that we work with. So it has been a very hard and difficult time in regards with children, and not doing the normal things that we typically do to ensure, you know, the well-being of our peers and our consumers as well. Scott, thank you very much. That was really good points that you touched upon. I appreciate it. So next up, we're going to have Tasha Craig. Tasha, can you let us know your current position and how long you've been at Lakeshore for?
Yes, I'm a house manager at the Treasure Lake House, and I've been with Lakeshore 3 years.
Nice, very good. Well, thank you for joining us today. So Tasha, I wanted to discuss with you just you know, working with consumers and how it's affected not only just your morale, but your coworkers' morale, and some of the things you feel that can be done to, you know, keep your own morale and then your coworkers' morale up.
Well, first and foremost, I personally believe I have to be selfish so that I can bring my best self into the work environment. And that's just even pre-COVID, so that whenever I come in, I'm acting like I'm leading by example. So trying to just like create that sunshine, even if it is cloudy outside situation, making it fun for the consumers, making it a human experience for the consumers and for my staff.
I agree with that 100%. And you know, I was at a meeting a few years back and Alan Benson, our CEO, was conducting it, and you know what he said was very impactful on me then. And this was pre-COVID, and I since I heard him say this, I carried it over, you know, every day that I worked. And all he said was, morale starts with the individual. And I hear you saying that, Tasha, where you being selfish and making sure you're giving yourself the best self-care you can is what you need to have a positive impact on yourself, so you can then have a positive impact on the consumers you're working with. And then I would also assume most directly with your peers, your coworkers, you know, because it does need to start with us, and for us to kind of pump ourselves up, to tell ourselves we're going to have a great day today. I always tell myself I'm going to go crush today, you know, to try to say I'm going to have a great day. And because if you don't tell yourself that and you think negatively, it carries over to the negative effect that we can have on our coworkers and our staff, and which can have, you know, and then our consumers as well. So I think that's a really great point you made, Tasha. Tasha, so what's some, if you don't mind sharing some specific examples of your self-care that you do to make sure you're feeling your best?
Well, everybody's different, but personally, I enjoy clothes and accessories. So I'm limited. Obviously, we can't wear jewelry. So I've really expanded, and I have lots of different glasses, I have lots of different clothes and accessories, and I even like to get matchy with my masks. So, and I like to bring that that fun part of it into the home, because then it's like a talking point with the consumers, and then I'll also with the consumers will play with their clothes too, to again humanize it, to make it really it's okay to be wearing these. It doesn't have to be scary.
Mhm. That's great. Absolutely. And you're right. It is individualized. We all need to kind of find the things in our personal lives where we're still remaining and being safe to make ourselves feel better.
So
Yeah,
if I'm able to look in the mirror and say I look good, at the very least, like I can feel good about that, and then hopefully that will resonate whenever I come into the home.
absolutely. That's great. So Tasha, thank you very much for sharing. Really appreciate that. Okay, up next we have Gina O'Neill. Gina, tell us your current position at Lakeshore and how long you have been here.
I am a DSP2 full-time third shift, and I've been with Lakeshore for about 7, almost 8 years.
Wow, that's excellent. So Gina, tell us, what you are currently doing to, keep your consumers occupied and some of the tools that you've been using to do that.
Well, we do a lot more crafts. We've always done crafts, but we're doing a lot more and trying to just keep them mentally engaged, whether it's coloring or I know some of us we have Cricuts at home and we cut things out and they paint them and glue them together. The offices sent around some emails with different ideas. Like I'm sure people have seen the staycation pictures, the pumpkin, decorating contest. I think there was a cookie one or a cupcake contest one. So things like that. And I know also we're in the house I'm at, she's learning how to crochet because she does loom. So she's learning how to crochet now, and yoga at home, and just anything we really can do to keep their mind and body physically, mentally stimulated.
That's excellent. How about with the, just working together with your peers and, how has the approach been any the same or any different to, best work with your consumers to keep their morale up and their spirits up as well as your coworkers?
At first, it was a little difficult because it was so abrupt and new for everybody, and it was kind of like a state of shock and panic, and what are we going to do and how are we going to do this? So at first it was a little rough, but then once everybody got their bearings and figured things out, everybody just kind of banded together, and what doesn't work for one works for another, and everybody puts their input in pieces, and because some of us have been here longer than others, and the newer ones have newer outlooks on some things, and then not as older ones, but other ones have been here longer, put their input in. Everybody just kind of works together. I mean, we're a team and we just, do what we need to do.
That's excellent. I completely agree. That team component is so vital for the benefit of ourselves as workers, and then also definitely the benefit of the people we're working with, the consumers. How about just talk a little bit about your approach when you're feeling like you need maybe some extra support during the COVID crisis, in terms of professionally speaking?
Well, like I said, we have a great team. It's really easy to talk to our coworkers. If you need to take a step back and say, I'm getting frustrated, or this is getting rough, can you just take it for a second? Everybody's really good about pitching in where they need to, or, and the office is really great too. I know myself, I've had some, there for a while, I was working nonstop, 60 to 80, sometimes even more hours a week, pulling 16-hour shifts every day. And, there'd be times where I myself was mentally like, I need a break. So it was nice to be able to go to the office, to my supervisors and my coworkers, and just let it all out without any, just, we're humans. We need this relief sometimes. And everybody's really great about not taking it personally, not letting it interfere with your job, letting you exhale, breathe, and then moving on.
I completely agree. You definitely have to be able to, get some support from coworkers, supervisors, be able to, vent when needed. And we're not robots, fortunately enough, so we do need those mental breaks and the support of others. Gina, I wanted to thank you very much for sharing your perspective and some of the, ideas, that you're using with the, your group home consumers, and hopefully that can benefit some other residential staff to incorporate as well into their days. So thank you very much, Gina. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, we have Rafus Roberts. Rafus, tell us your current title and how long you've been at Lakeshore.
DSP2 and going on 10 years. Work at West 33rd.
You're quarantining for safety precautions from the community and your family?
Yes.
How, I'm sure that's been quite a stressful impact on you and with the family, right?
Yeah, it has been emotionally and physically stressful. Being first of all, being away from your family. That especially when you're the man of the house, it takes a toll on you. You can't be there for your family. Also, the symptoms that I have been having, I have asthma, so my asthma has been flaring up, and then my body has been aching, and not just the energy. And then I know I've lost weight because instead of eating big portions, I've been eating like just sandwiches, and I'm full, So I'm losing all my gains from the weight room, Sometimes you have to force yourself to do some push-ups just to keep, the energy. Take some vitamins. Make sure you wash your hands, and just try to stay encouraged, because you figure the shutdown started in March, and it's now November. So it's like you did all this, and then I wasn't downplaying it, but it's like, man, it happened now. After 9 or 10 months,
right.
So it's kind of discouraging, and I've been doing everything I to be precautious of, like washing the hands, wearing the mask, and social distancing and all that. So I wanted to add too, all through this with my symptoms, my first initial symptoms was feeling fatigued. Mm-hmm. All through, it's going on about 10 days now, and I haven't had a temp. So that's one thing. I know they say check your temps, and I'm not saying do not check your temp, but temps with me, I haven't had a temp, and I still experience symptoms.
Sure. Well, I appreciate you sharing that, and then the kind of length of time, and then it initially started, your symptoms with body aches, and then it's progressed. Fatigue has increased, appetite's been suppressed. Any other symptoms, you feel that you've been feeling?
I know sometimes my stomach, I have my bowel movement.
Yeah.
And then just the fatigue.
Yeah. Okay.
Not the energy I usually have.
Right. And I think you make a good point, and it related back to Quentin's point, where you've done all of these things for so long, and then it seems like it sneaks up underneath the door and get you,
Yes.
So I think that's a really important, good message to come across, to share with everybody, that to have our due diligence, and to not let our guard down, because even when we feel our guard hasn't been let down, or that we didn't let it down, we can still be exposed. Rafus, how about with the what were some of the things, since you're quarantining and isolating, that you've been doing to try to keep your mental state up?
Well, I've been talking to family, socializing with them, just relying on my coping skills. My son, he's getting ready to try out. He goes to prep, so he'll send me, he'll FaceTime me while he's at the Y, and ask him, Dad, am I doing this drill right? So that kind of helps me out. My wife FaceTimes me, my daughter. So that helps out a lot with the family, definitely. And then my friends calling me, checking up on me.
And maybe to even see it like a flat affect. And then you're like, what's wrong? Because you can't always hear it in somebody's voice. So, Rafus, I think that's a great point, you're making to ensure that, to keep up that family support, that personal support, because it does definitely carry over in our professional lives. I wish you a speedy recovery. I hope you get out of quarantine soon. And yeah, you're welcome. And go Birds, even though they're not going too well this year, man. So, all right. Up next, we have Matt Borzon. Matt, tell us your title and how long you've been here at Lakeshore.
Sure, I am the LPN in the waiver residential program, and I've been here almost 6 years.
Okay, almost 6 years. Great. Good. Like I said before, great tenured group of participants we've had here today. So Matt, you tell us, share with everybody your experience, and you're currently in the reserves, correct? And in what branch?
United States Navy.
Okay, great. And how long have you done that for?
This coming March will be 19 years.
19 years. Wow, good for you. Thank you for your service. Really appreciate that. You guys are an exceptional group of people to make that type of commitment. So, so Matt, you actually went into the front lines in New York City for a while and were deployed there, correct?
Yes, I was there beginning of the year. Probably I left, I think I left around April. I got back beginning of June.
So share with us a few things. Share with us just, I guess, the initial feeling you had once you were made aware that you were going into this situation.
Sure. Well, we got told with 3 days notice. They mobilized 500 of us and gave us very little time to get there. But, I mean, I've been a sailor for a long time, and our only job as a reservist is to deploy. So I was more worried about how my family was going to deal with it. There was a lot of uncertainties for them, and a lot of things were going to fall on my wife. But as far as I have good training. I mean, and that's really what I sort of believe. And that's what I say to everybody here, pay attention to the good training that people give you. And, I didn't feel unconfident. I mean, I was ready to go. It wasn't an awful experience. I mean, it's long days, but it really wasn't too bad. So no, I felt okay going in. You just kind of lock yourself in, like everybody else is saying. You put yourself in that right frame of mind for the job you have to do. It's just the way it works.
So you were right in, was it, I mean, you have talked about this before. You were, and correct me if I'm wrong or misspeak here, but you were right in those, like in Central Park area, right, where they...
We were in downtown Manhattan. They had converted the Javits Convention Center into a hospital.
And what did your days look like there? How long were you working for? And
12-hour days. They were 12-hour days. There was no mass transit, so you would get up early and you would have to march in. We would go in as a big group, so you would march sort of through the streets there. You'd have to get there early enough to get on all your PPE, do all this stuff, and then your shift was 12 hours. And then you go back and you were kind of sort of quarantined to a room. You could go out to get meals, and that was really about it.
So so while you were there, you did not get COVID, correct? So what do you attribute? What's your biggest attribute to keeping yourself safe?
It's the same thing. My advice to everybody is the same one. We all know in the Navy they'll call it a training environment, but you can call it a work environment or whatever. We all know how we're supposed to act. What people have to remember is that right now, everywhere you are is a training environment. There isn't any place. So if you come to work and you're real conscientious about your mask, your hand washing, your hygiene, everything else, but then you go home and you live an entirely different way, you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot. You have to just look at this is the new normal we're in now. So for me, it was just being real consistent with the protection we were supposed to wear, with the way we were supposed to act, knowing where I was supposed to be, and just following the rules. I mean, that's, the nice part about it is I don't think the rules are hard. I can't say that they feel great. I can't say that people are having a ball doing it, but they're not hard to do, and they certainly beat the alternative.
So do you feel there's a huge significance of ensuring that Lakeshore staff are paying attention to the trainings that are provided and the support they're going through in terms of just the fit testing that's been occurring and things like that?
Absolutely. You know, look, knowledge is the biggest beginning of this. You know, you have to educate people for how we're living now. Lakeshore has done a pretty good job of it. Now, there are other resources. You know, I check the CDC almost daily to see what are the current recommendations, just to watch what the rest of my life is like. You know where you should and shouldn't be. But yeah, I think if you're not interested in the best technology right now to stay ahead of this, you're kind of setting yourself up for failure. I mean, you know, Lakeshore has a lot of great information out there. You should be looking at it.
I think that's a really great point. And, you know, I feel like Lakeshore's definitely done their best to stay with the curve and even ahead of the curve to ensure that we are safe, because if we're not safe, then our consumers cannot be safe. And I think that's another really good point, Matt, is the self-education. You know, sometimes we do need to turn off the TV and not listen to it, but also following CDC, those credible, respectable sources of information to keep us educated, to keep us informed, and then also internally here at work to, if you have questions, go to your supervisor and find those out, so you understand exactly the changes that are occurring, because they are frequent and that is going to continue to happen. And I think you know, that is probably one of the better ways to combat that, and so to stay educated and informed, absolutely, to keep ourselves safe. Um, Matt, I appreciate that. Appreciate your service. Glad you got back here safe and sound. And hopefully, you know, that I'm sure you probably like a nice long break before next time you get deployed, right?
You know, you just never know. It kind of doesn't work that way.
Right. Fingers crossed, right? We want to keep you here at work because you're a big help to us over here, man, for sure. I wanted to, so that concluded our topics to discuss. Everybody, I want to really thank you for your perspective, your input, for joining today, and for us to be able to use this to give, you know, our Lakeshore family some insight into, you know, how we are, the steps we're taking to be safe, to ensure our consumers are safe, and the little things we're doing to, you know, keep us feeling well. So thanks everybody for joining today. Everybody have a good day and stay safe. Thank you.